You're watching the Camnet main news. We apologize for bringing the news late. However, we continue. We look at the stories making headlines. President Edgar Lungu notes the democratic change of power in Malawi. People with prostitute mentality pretend to love President Lungu, Pastor Chiluba. Mao Sampa shuts foreign bars. In international news, Lazarus Chakwera sworn in as Malawi president after historic win. In sports news, football fraternity mourns Matoto Alfred. Join me after a short break with the details.
Can I have that meal over there? And I really want that crispy, fresh apple taste from the garden. Can I have happy apple?
I think I'll have my big bite 2 meal with happy waziwaka. Give us your
enjoy an appetizing big bite meal with an happy drink of your choice. A meal is not a meal without an happy drink. And now introducing Happy in a can.
With the details, my name is Sharon Kalimbola. Lusaka Mayor Mao Sampa Saturday night shut down bars and nightclubs masquerading as restaurants in view of presidential directive to keep businesses closed due to the coronavirus pandemic. Among the clubs that were closed include Granddaddy's Pub and Grill in Salama Park and Chicago Reloaded Restaurant at East Park Mall. And speaking in an interview with Camnet TV News, Mr. Sampa says no one should be treated better than others and the law has to be applied fairly and equally.
No, just because the president was very clear that bars were closed the last address, and there was public outcry that the foreign-owned restaurants are abrogating the rules and operating as bars in the night. And also elsewhere, the Zambian-owned bars in the communities were apparently being closed by council, and those ones owned by foreigners being ignored. So the council officials, if they were not doing that, I personally took it personal and visited those owned by foreigners and proved that indeed they were acting like bars when they should not. And we closed them on the spot, and they have to appeal to the council to show cause why we should open them. Chicago, the owner was very cooperative. The residents, the people who were drinking there, of course, didn't like the idea because they were enjoying themselves, and yet we're doing this to save their lives. Chicago, the owners were not very cooperative, and they tried to elude us. They locked themselves in, and they were not very cooperative, the Chicago management. But the Granddad management were not cooperative. But still, we did close them. They also remain closed until further notice. But we closed the one in Chilenge, MS Liquor. We closed it also. They were found them selling alcohol, people drinking. And then we closed Drill Beach in Ilivala also. We found them on the spot. People were drinking. That was about 22 hours. We closed the total of 4 bars last night. The message to other bar restaurant owners disregarding that presidential guideline, it's not if, but when we bounce on them and close them as well. Some of them will never even give them back. So they should choose whether to take the risk or not. They should be patient and wait until the president says the bar can open. Other than that, anybody wants to behave in that manner, they shouldn't think we'll loot them. We have eyes for everywhere in the city. We'll bounce on them and confiscate their license, and we may never give them back.
All People's Congress Party President Nelson Musoni has called for the reforms at the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Ms. Musoni observes that the current crop of officials at the helm of ECZ have no capacity to deliver credible, free and fair elections. The opposition leader says credible and fair elections require just and impartial leaders, stating that can only be achieved by changing the current composition at the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Ms. Musoni has observed that the continued arbitrary electoral decision by the electoral body without the involvement of other stakeholders is evident enough that ECZ cannot be trusted.
Two things we can learn from what has transpired or what has happened in Malawi. That you cannot hinge your political ambition on a stolen election. That you cannot hinge your political ambition on tinkering with institutions and electoral fraud. So we think that those who think that they can cheat to win an election must think twice, because the dynamics, the political dynamics, the matrix have changed in the region, in Africa, that you can no longer bank on a stolen election to keep you in office, to maintain you in office. So what has happened in Malawi should be a lesson for all of us, not just in Zambia, that you need to hold a credible, free and fair election. So you can't lose an election and later you as an incumbent, you as a party in the government, and accuse the opposition of rigging an election. I think that doesn't make sense.
In other news, Healing Word Ministries International Senior Pastor Moses Chiluba has cautioned President Edgar Lungu to be careful with some people who surround him. Pastor Chiluba warns that some of the people who surround the president are not being helpful to him but subtracting from his efforts. He says some people are only interested in personal gains and they derive from the president and nothing more beyond that. Pastor Chiluba said this during his Sunday service sermon.
You see, once a president goes into office, he's loved by many. Because the jobs are in his hands. Appointments are in his hands. Contracts are in his hands. So you find people like this. And some of the people who are pretending to love President Chagwalungu, they don't love him. Why are you quiet? When were you born? I said some of the people pretending to love our president, they don't love him. There are people who love President Chagwalungu passionately and they are not even close to him. They pray for him and they love him and they will vote for him, but you will never meet them. Now there are those who have the spirit of a prostitute. Right now, Mr. President, Mr. President, Bama setting Bamambala.
Government has released 30 million kwacha for ex-employees of Tazara, Zamtel and former railway systems of Zambia. Secretary to the Cabinet, Fredson Yamba, says the release of the funds is in line with government's ongoing commitment to dismantle domestic arrears, adding that the funds will help to facilitate the settlement of terminal benefits to the eligible ex-employees, some of whom were represented by legal firms. Mr. Yamba hopes that in the process, the payments eligible beneficiaries, such as orphans, widows and other vulnerable persons, will be accorded special recognition. Meanwhile, Mr. Yamba has announced that the Treasury is in the process of acquiring COVID-19 bond. Mr. Yamba says the COVID-19 bond resources will be available to support small and medium entrepreneurs that will not be able to access the 10 billion kwacha medium-term refinancing facility managed by the Bank of Zambia through commercial banks. This is contained in a statement issued to Camnet TV by Secretary to the Treasury Fredson Yamba. Government says it remains committed to addressing the challenges being faced by civil servants in the newly created Lunte district. Transport and Communications Minister, who is at the same time Lunte Member of Parliament, Mutoto Ekafwaya, says government is in the process of creating modalities to better conditions of the workers in the district. The minister is meanwhile hopeful that the declaration of Lunte as a district will improve service delivery to the people. Mr. Kafwaya said this when he addressed civil servants in Lunte over the weekend.
It's a very, very huge privilege for me to come to Vincent Ulaya, a place where stakeholders proposed, or should I say government proposed to be the district administration and be able to meet the civil servants and selected party officials. It's my sincere hope that after we have had this meeting, we can develop a strong team comprising both the civil service as well as party officials, so that we promote the lives and livelihoods of our people. We have to make sure that we work as one. Let's share information. Let's share programs, information concerning programs, and all developmental issues that are happening, so that we create a good face for our district. So I hope that this interaction, in spite of the challenges, in spite of the successes that we are going to hear, should be able to yield positive results in terms of how we move ahead, henceforth.
You're watching Camnet News. Just now, we take a break. Stay tuned.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Dr. Bigron, musaibala komutienda ukuni gift na land. Uchenkubeti uibise mojo basayone. Oh! Mwina mochi, nakuletera njinga. Latest ina reverse gear na mawaipa.
Difficult tidi ashiria njinga. Liam 19 pendef kondo. Transport, we got it.
Nanga phone for communication. Ipu sana chizungu. Yeah, you see what I mean?
It's a Camnet difficult.
It's communication. We got it.
Indemoni! Powerful system ndimba X-Buzz.
Mufumile kukalale. Na mnaimo muli bakumushi. We got it. Yo Bigron, utole no leta nchemfule mungani. Get your watch pose and change. 1, 2, 3. Both of you. Kabala ngempang. Don't be stupid. We got it.
Welcome back. President Edgar Lungu says the election of Lazarus Chakwera as the new Malawian president demonstrates the trust and confidence the people of Malawi have in him. The head of state also says the election of the new president clearly shows that the people of Malawi have trust in his leadership style to steer the nation to greater heights. President Lungu further states that the election of Dr. Chakwera ushers in a new wave of democratic change of power, which the people of Malawi have been advocating for. The Zambian president has therefore reaffirmed his commitment to maintaining strong bilateral relations that Zambia and Malawi have continued to enjoy for the mutual benefit of the people of the two countries. Last night, Malawi's Electoral Commission declared opposition alliance leader Lazarus Chakwera as the winner of the country's presidential election rerun. This is according to a congratulatory message to Dr. Chakwera from President Edgar Lungu. Meanwhile, Movement for Multi-Party Democracy MMD President Nevas Momba Sunday observed the inauguration ceremony of President Lazarus Chakwera. According to a post on Dr. Mumba's Facebook page, he announced that he was in Malawi attending the inauguration of his friend and brother. Dr. Mumba went to say the Most High God rules in the kingdom of men, gives it to whomever he will, and sets over it the lowest of men. He says the people of Malawi have elected for themselves an intelligent, compassionate servant leader full of morality and integrity. President Chakwera, in his salutations, recognized the presence of Dr. Mumba.
Banda, former President of the Republic of Malawi, and Justice Richard Banda AC, retired. Your Honor, Dr. Neves Mumba.
In other news, a 49-year-old truck driver has been found dead in a cabin of his truck in Durban, South Africa. The deceased, identified as George Manungo Chikosenu, was discovered dead in the early hours of Sunday by one of his colleagues whom he was in the convoy with after parking for a night at a named truck stop. According to the information made available to the Zambian mission in Pretoria, the deceased was working for a Zambian registered trucking company. He was in South Africa on duty when he died, and his body has since been deposited at Pinetown Mortuary awaiting post-mortem. This is according to a statement made available to Camnet News by First Secretary for Press and Public Relations at the Zambian High Commission in South Africa, Naomi Nyawali. Some opposition United Party for National Development UPND youths have urged the government to devise measures that will absorb the many graduating students from universities and colleges. Shadre Kasweka says it is saddening to know that several youths graduating from higher learning institutions are languishing on the streets with their degrees due to lack of tangible economic activities to engage in. Meanwhile, UPND Deputy National Youth Secretary Trevor Mwinde is worried with the fact that the police have continued to harass the youths. The duo was speaking in a walk-in interview at Camnet TV.
We youths in this country have been abused, marginalized, brutalized by the state police. We're talking about Zambia. It means that Zambia's democracy is still in the books more than in reality, more than it is in reality. So we are urging the powers that be to allow the youth to voice out, to permit the youths demonstrate in a democratic manner as one of their constitutional rights, that which is enshrined in the Bill of Rights. The voice of the youth in Zambia must be given the space. The voice of the youth in Zambia must be given the ears and rendered the accurate attention.
Can the government create a conducive environment whereby when somebody graduates, they should be able to discharge the tenets of their faculty of study immediately? Because these are the technocrats and these are the people that can help the government to grow this nation economic-wise.
We take our final break. When we come back, we look at international and sports news. Keep watching.
To increase sales of your products and services, advertise on Camnet TV. Reach your clients and target markets directly and see your business grow. For special rates, you can contact our marketing department on
0955 664 305 or 0978 290 626. Camnet TV.
Not just another channel.
You know I can take her a bake.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You've heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance.
but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Welcome back. In international news, Lazarus Chakwera has been sworn in as the president of Malawi after winning an election rerun. He defeated incumbent Peter Mutharika with 58.57% of the vote in the Tuesday's polls. In February, Malawi's Constitutional Court annulled Mr. Mutharika's victory in the May 2019 election, citing vote tampering. The country was bitterly divided in the run-up to this week's election. Speaking ahead of Saturday's results, Mr. Mutharika said while he found the election unacceptable, it was his sincere hope that Malawi moves forward instead of backward. Saulos Chilima, Mr. Chakwera's running mate, was also sworn in as vice president at the ceremony in the capital, Lilongwe. Mr. Chakwera, a Pentecostal preacher and former theological lecturer, will first have to heal the nation that has been through many months of political turmoil. Let's take a look what happened at the inauguration ceremony.
Time has come for us to go beyond dreaming. We all must wake up, because this is a time to arise from slumber and to make our dream come true. Dr. Chilima and I accept this challenge and task. We will pursue it, not just as servants accountable to you voters, but as stewards of the hopes of millions of children, born and unborn, who have no vote. With your help, we will restore a new generation's faith in the possibility of having a government that serves. Not a government that rules, a government that inspires, not a government that infuriates, a government that listens, not a government that shouts, a government that fights for you and not against you. Now, I'm no stranger to the benefits of good government. Although I was raised in a poor village like most Malawians, raised without inherited riches or political connections like most Malawians, raised without electricity or running water like most Malawians, I stand here today because I had one of the blessings of God that a young Malawian today does not have. The blessing of growing up in a well-governed Malawi. So I pledge to run Malawi well, for that is the surest path to Tsogolola Bwino, a path that has long been in ruins, riddled with the potholes of greed and corruption. And in making this pledge, I'm accepting this call to serve you with joy and holy fear. For I am duty bound by God and to God and all of you to give you my best.
We now look at sports news. The Football Association of Zambia is saddened by the death of Eastern Province Division 1 side Chipata City Council official Alfred Matoto, who died following an illness. Mr. Matoto was admitted in Chipata Central Hospital and later died on Friday, 26th of June 2020. The deceased had served Chipata City Council in various capacities that included General Secretary, Committee Member and Team Manager. In a statement released to Camnet Tv, Football Association of Zambia has urged the football fraternity to honor the memory of Matoto by ensuring that the Chipata City Council and Eastern Province football continues to grow. The football has been held at Jereman Village in Chipata District, Eastern Province. On that note, we end our news, but before we go, the headlines once again. President Lungu nods the democratic change of power in Malawi. People with prostitute mentality pretend to love President Lungu, Pastor Chiluba. Mao Samba shuts foreign bars. In international news, Lazarus Chakwera sworn in as Malawi president after historic win. And sports news, football fraternity mourns Matoto Alfred. Well, just now we look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from the book of 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9, and it reads, He said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. That's all we could accommodate for you. Remember, we are still in the COVID season, so you need to mask up and sanitize your hands, or rather wash your hands as often as possible to prevent the spread of COVID-19. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. Thank you so much for staying with us. Keep watching.